Everybody's mic is on again? Okay. Say it again? Okay, bring it back. Okay, thank you. Where were we? Number 12, is that where we are, guys? Okay. Item 12 is to act on the SCROG. We did everything else? Yeah, okay. I hope you had time to read both proposals. I stole these from the packet. Well, I didn't steal them. I took them from the SCROG packet because they were given out to all the board members of SCROG, and there are two, I guess, for lack of a better word, we're being asked by SCROG to be a part of a consortium. All 15 members of the SCROG are applying together for 2 grants, regional incentive program proposals, and the first one is for God, I'm losing my mind here. Thank you. Cybersecurity, and the second one is for school food waste. And I will tell you that Beecher Road was recognized for having started this all on our own without the grant at the SCROG, and it was we're a model for the rest of them. And I talked to Al today, and it seems that the PTO is supporting them right now. They're paying for some of this, which is really lovely. So hopefully you had good time to review this, and we're being asked to by February 28th, so we have time at our meeting tonight to adopt a resolution endorsing Woodbridge becoming a part of this regional performance incentive program to apply as a group. And you have any questions on either of the proposals? I know Tony's very excited about the cybersecurity one, because we were going to do it as part of our budget, and now we can get this done as part of this, which is exciting.
So I think we should vote on these separately.
Absolutely. Well, the only thing we're voting on for is the
resolution.
The resolution,
Oh, okay.
which includes.
It's both of them.
Both,
Oh,
right.
okay, that's
So
fine.
we could do that, but then we gotta still do the resolution.
Okay, that's,
So-
no, we don't need to do
Okay.
that then.
So
Okay.
would you like me to read the resolution? Have you all read it? Okay. For the Regional Cybersecurity Initiative and the School Waste Diversion Pilot Program. And I will make a motion that we approve it, and I will send this to SCROG.
I will second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussions on any of this?
I will just say it was very exciting to read through these, and I think this represents, significant moving forward with regional initiatives, and 2 things that I think will have great results actually
Exactly.
for Woodbridge.
Right. Yep.
And I guess the only question I had, and Tony, it's actually about the cybersecurity one,
Okay.
where they talk about $50,000 per municipality. So is the grant going to cover
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The
So
grant will
that-
cover
it's not
that.
like
We don't have to
Right.
put up
cover it.
$50,000.
And like
That's why we're
us,
doing this.
our regional, our security is probably much less than, New Haven
We
or
won't
West
be
Haven or whatever.
50,000.
So it's proportional.
Yeah, it's
Right.
proportional,
I see,
right.
okay. But it's not increased cost to us?
No,
No.
no.
Not at
Okay.
all.
Well, I think these are great.
Great.
Now, do you know if the cybersecurity will also include the schools?
I don't.
Okay.
We can
Good
find
question.
out.
We can find out though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because I
This
think,
assessment might be right.
yeah,
I don't know.
I think for Beecher in
We can find out.
particular, and just because of,
Yeah.
the state of things and what are they able to do. So
Yeah,
if we
that's a
could
good
bring them
question.
Yep.
along, that
Sure,
would
we
be
can
We'll
find
ask,
out.
yep.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item 13 in your packet is to adopt the, let's see, Regional Water Authority HazWaste collection 3-year resolution. Apparently, we do this every 3 years. It's in your packet. Do you have anything to add on this, Tony?
No,
HazWaste.
we do it
Right.
every year, yeah.
Okay.
I guess I just have one comment. It's not to change this, but
Mm-hmm.
if they will accept residents dropping things off on Saturday mornings from 9 to noon, we should somehow publish that better. I mean, I know the residents need to go there to
Mm-hmm.
do it, but
Right.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that we could.
Hey,
So,
could we add that to our,
It's on, I don't think it's on the calendar every single Saturday, because that would kind of clog
oh,
it up.
no.
But they do a collection day at the transfer station, and then they do, and that's definitely publicized. And then they do a volunteer day where they ask Woodbridge volunteers to be the on-site volunteers in New Haven, and we publicize that as well.
Okay, and I didn't go and check our website that talks about, transfer station operations, but I would just want to make sure that it's there as a reference so that
I think it
people
is,
know.
but I can check.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
that's great, okay. So I'll make I'll make a motion that we adopt the Regional Water Authority HazWaste collection as discussed.
Second, or
Thank you. Any questions or further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much. Okay, 14 is update transfer station operations. Warren, how long you been sitting there? Long enough? No. Thank you. So we had a couple of things.
Warren's got a few things.
Yep.
In addition to the transfer station, there was a funding request that was put on hold last meeting.
Yeah.
You had some
Right.
questions for Warren,
Right,
so if we can take that up, that would be helpful too.
yep,
And he can also, while he's here, any questions about the dump truck body bid, we might as well do that too.
Okay.
If you have any
Okay.
questions for Warren?
okay.
Okay.
So what's your pleasure in terms of asking Warren? Ask away.
Well-
Regarding the,
You want to do the transfer station?
oh, you want to do the
yeah,
transfer
let's do
station?
the transfer
Okay.
station first.
For sure.
So Warren is here to review the operations of the transfer station since the installation of the scale, as we discussed. There's a update for you that you can read through. Just as a highlight, we've collected just shy of $40,000 in fees, and on the tonnage that we charge for commercial haulers. And MSW is still free for residents. So far that's going well. So I just wanted to point that out.
And that's for 3 months,
That's 3 months, right?
3 months, so it's
Right.
40,000
So
for
you
3
can-
months.
You can
so
extrapolate that. and
Probably
figure it out.
160,
Right,
roughly.
yeah.
But we
That's
paid
for
out
4 months.
65.
It's for 4
We paid
months.
for
So,
four-
yeah,
oh.
so,
This is 3 times.
October,
yeah, 3
November.
times it, yeah.
Am I reading that right? We paid
October,
out-
November,
Correct,
December,
65,
3
yeah.
months.
There's some timing issues there in terms of, but
So
that
3
gives you a rough
months.
idea. Once you have a year's worth, it'd be a lot easier to see the differences, because, then the timing issues are all resolved, because
Sometime,
I
yeah.
book them, in a certain year and all that. So I just wanted to make that point. The other issue that we should discuss is demo, and I'll let Warren take it out.
Right, you can see information in the report, but there's a lot of product that goes into that container that we don't collect a fee for. And Tony and I had a discussion, we currently charge by the cubic yard, but on small items, it's almost a wash as far as the cost on any small ticket items, because of the cost. If we were to weigh that individual item, there's really no price advantage. But we are paying in volumes for, let's say, a person comes in with a truck, pickup truck, and it's loaded with material, and they're paying by the cubic yard, but the weight exceeds what the cubic yard is. So
Okay.
there's a disproportion there. So it's a possibility that we should start weighing these people, even though they have a permit by the cubic yard, for validation of what they have.
Okay.
Just start weighing those individual vehicles that might be questionable to get a better balance. It's still gonna be, let's say, it's never gonna balance out to our advantage, because you can see in the information that was supplied to you that a lot of towns just have a base fee for any item that goes in there. If it's a furniture item, let's say, for conversation, a $10 fee. But it might not be a true representation of the weight, because if you were to put that item on the scale, you might be getting, $5.
Just so you know, we pay about $90 a ton, I think.
$90
That
a
makes
ton
sense?
roughly, yeah.
Plus transportation to haul the bulky waste and from the transfer station to its collection place, so.
So it cost us 20,300.
Right, we
Right.
collected
We collected
$1,300,
1372.
right.
Yeah.
So
Difference is
we're talking about maybe trying to at least increase the 1372 to something.
Right, so if you,
Yeah.
Closer to
if you
20,000.
increase it to
Bulky
$90 a
waste.
ton,
Right.
so you charge for the, just as an example, you could see there, we would have collected about $25,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the break-even point on it is if 500, So $90 a ton is 4.5 cents a pound. So 500 pounds, you're at about $20.
I mean, conceptually, is there some reason why we don't wanna try to get this all to pay for itself? I mean, why should we be paying?
Right. Particularly
Right.
for the larger items where if somebody brings in,
Right, I mean, so however we wanna do the math and all, I mean, conceptually, I would think we have to put a structure in place where
that would be our
our
plan.
revenue is matching our outgoing funds as
If,
closely as
if you're
possible.
interested and you think it's a good idea, we can put together a specific fee proposal for you to review. And, you
I
know,
don't see
I
why
don't see
not.
why not,
Right.
it's there, I mean, I don't think, you know,
there's an example,
I for
there's,
one don't use the transfer station that much.
You'll see that on the
People
next
do,
page.
But they should pay for that privilege as
Yeah.
far as I'm.
so Orange charges $100 per ton. This next page has got some examples.
If you look at those examples that are on the second
Yes.
page,
Yep.
you can see what I'm referencing, where there's minimum fees for anything that's disposed of.
Well, why don't you guys get to work and come up with something specific that
Okay,
you think works to
Mm-hmm.
align the incoming funds with the outgoing funds?
We can do that.
It'll be a better match, and if
Yeah.
the bottom of page one kind of gives you that.
to start.
Yeah.
It's a sort of
And there is
general.
no reason that we should subsidize that.
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
you
No,
know,
I
regular
don't think so
solid
either.
waste, I understand. You know, we do provide that service, but
If
the
residents
bulky
bring in,
waste,
right, if residents
yeah.
bring in their
Well, yeah, your
solid
kitchen
waste,
stuff
it's,
or your household stuff.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
still gonna be free of charge,
Yes,
right.
right. And that's what we should subsidize and pay for
I
from the
agree.
town, but not the bulky waste.
Right.
So a break even would be great.
Would be.
There's, the other thing that we wanted to bring to your attention is, the, possibility we discussed of closing a day.
Uh-huh,
And, so you can see the figures in there.
yep,
You know, Warren could speak to, which days are
Oh,
less visited. The issue we were having was, of those towns that have a scale and have private haulers, we were hard pressed to find someone who's not open, 'cause the
Well,
haulers have to
there's
visit.
several things involved with the closing. The haulers would have to find an alternate location because they're still collecting their customers in town. The other thing is, we weigh the benefit to us, because if the haulers have to dispose in our town, we still have to staff up there for their activities at the scale. If we force the haulers to go to a different location, we're potentially losing revenue that would be
So why
affecting
are we
everything here.
talking about reducing?
It had come up during the budget process,
I see.
and so
Right,
we
To
wanted,
right.
save, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that,
But now that we're trying to
Right.
match, to restructure
Very
this,
good point.
wouldn't it make sense?
it makes more sense to be.
To be open,
okay.
I would think.
Yes, because we looked into half-day scenarios, we looked into the one-day scenarios, and the true benefit for the work that we might gain on that, it's really not working out to the town's benefit all the way around.
Now, if we charge and we find that people are somehow going somewhere else, then we could talk about,
Well, they're not
Right.
supposed to go somewhere.
well, I know that, but
It always says, yeah, right,
I'm
right.
just saying. But as of now, why would we reduce our hours if we're gonna match up revenue with expense?
The original concept was to give DPW a benefit of the workforce.
Right, okay.
Right, if we, because
I
it's two
see.
people have to be at the transfer station at a
Okay,
time.
I see.
So if we can free up two people for 1 or 2 days, they can be
Right.
doing other type of work.
That was
that-
the original idea.
Yeah,
Get that.
that was the idea.
I mean, you gotta do the math.
Yep.
Right, you gotta figure out what's,
And just a quick
Where's the
scenario, look
benefit?
at that, it doesn't work out.
And the,
Right.
yeah.
okay, so there's the answer.
What do you mean, closing a day and,
Right.
okay.
And we're charging the haulers
Okay.
$90 a ton, then we're gonna say,
We'd
by
lose,
the way, on this day you have to go.
Yeah, you gotta go someplace
Somewhere
else
else.
or,
we'd lose revenue. We don't know if you
Right.
source them at a different location, would still fees be incurred to the town? So
right.
where do you benefit by closing?
okay.
Well, we can keep an eye on it and, you
Yeah,
know, let
We
you
could
know.
an eye on
revisit that at another point.
The other thing I just wanted to
Probably-
mention was,
Sure.
is that, so our recycling charges have gone up to
That's another,
82 maybe?
8306.
8306. So, and we pay 62 for
True.
garbage, for solid waste, so we're at 83. Yet we could not find a, location that charges for recycling yet, just so you know.
So I know I've asked this question before. Why can't we separate out glass, which is the heaviest
You probably,
recycling?
you can.
Okay, and put it in the garbage that we pay less for?
No, you can't put it in the garbage. We're mandated to have that and dispose of it in a certain manner.
Right.
There's only one community that I know of that does that, but they have their own revenue sources where they manage the glass. So that's, you know, so far I haven't found anybody
I mean,
that's,
what is the state doing about this? Because this is a
nothing
real
that I'm
problem.
aware of. They might be looking at it, but, you know, everybody is subject to the same rules that they dictate by.
Right, but
Well, I
this,
have one of these bins that you can throw all your recycles
well, that's what
Single
we do.
stream
Yeah,
recycling.
that's
blue.
what single-
Right.
That's what we
Blue
in.
have.
So where does that go?
It all goes, everything that you collect, whether it be cardboard, paper, glass, and plastics, it
Plastic or
all
whatever
goes
goes
single
in one
stream.
container.
Right,
They call it dual stream if they start separating.
okay, we do single.
Single.
It's all
So-
single stream.
Right,
We used to, remember, separating?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
used
we
to be.
used to
Yeah.
separate.
Right.
It's picked up, it's brought to the transfer station, and then that's
Right.
hauled
Yeah.
to,
Okay.
Now it's,
Sheldon, I think.
Well, the reason I asked was because Sandy talked about just glass, but.
Because glass
Then
is
we'd
the
have to-
heaviest
What's the
of
weight?
the
Right.
recycling, and we
Right, but-
have to
apparently
pay
we
by
can't do that
weight.
legally.
Right, but then we'd have to have
The glass
process.
breaks
Right.
and
Well,
contaminates.
it might still go to the same disposal source for us and how they manage it. But if there was, let's say, a market for us to strategically, like what we did with corrugated cardboard years ago, if there was a market and we could, but those sources dried up and then everybody merged to the single stream. So right now, they're finding out that the markets for the products are diminishing. And therefore, I don't know why they're increasing in a diminishing market, why the weights for tonnage, the tip fees are going up. It doesn't, you know, from my standpoint, it doesn't have any logic behind it because,
Right.
you know, it's, if they, I had a question from a caller just concerned if they put the stuff in the transfer station, where does it go there? Well, it's regulated by the state. We have specific locations we can dispose of. What they do with it after that, we don't have oversight. The state has oversight.
Okay.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice segue into, oh, Betsy's here.
Would
Yay.
you want to do the other?
No,
just
we have to
outline-
do the
Warren wanted to
funding
talk
request.
about the
Sorry,
the
thank
funding
you.
request.
So, I'm zooming along, trying to get out of here. The request, I believe, was,
$20,000 from contingency to,
Yeah.
for trees.
So I thought when we talked about that last time, my memory's not great, but I thought we said
it's better than mine.
we were just gonna leave it and do it on like when Warren needed money for.
My
think-
memory serves it was.
We
did
delayed
Warren
it.
pay for it out of his budget.
Right.
Why do we have to use contingency?
Right.
And
Right.
can we maybe wait until towards the end of the year to see if Warren has it
Okay.
in his budget?
Right.
I'll
That
go
was
along
the-
if that's what it was, because as they say.
Right.
Yeah.
And-
So
and
so
fr-
Warren
So-
found it in his budget.
Well, not yet. Well,
No.
we'll wait
My,
until.
my line items are pretty well tapped out,
Oh,
especially the tree, and I've been doing transfers right along to sustain that line. But I'm exceeding, you know, the allocation and even the transfers that are absorbed from other line items. I don't have, you know, any resiliency in the other lines now to conduct business.
There's
So,
not much.
So we're back to a contingency aspect.
Right.
But, I mean, you haven't had much snow plowing that you've needed to do. Isn't there something in there at this point that you could tap
Overtime
into?
is,
well, all the materials were purchased.
Yeah,
We're,
materials were
we're over in the overtime line item from my calculations anyways, because
Right
of
now.
other seasonal activities
Tony's getting it up
and
for
storms
us,
and everything.
the numbers.
Okay.
Well, you and Warren looked at it, right? So you-
Yeah, there's about $10,000 left in overtime.
Yeah.
So, you know, it could be a little, but depending how the season goes, or maybe, you know, maybe not.
Depending on, we still have
Well,
Why don't
from
we have
February
a
into March, so
contingency?
you don't
Could have a
know.
storm tomorrow, right?
You don't know,
Or
tonight,
April.
it's supposed
We
to
have,
snow
well,
tonight
quite a
after
bit
tomorrow.
left. Yeah, the balancing contingency
It's gonna ice it,
is.
it's gonna be icy tomorrow.
The way I'm leaving it right now is I have no operational money basically to issue POs in the line item where we hire contractors.
343.
So I have a substantial list of trees. Not every tree is gonna fall over instantly, but the contingency
that's
was
the
gonna be
salary.
there if I had to issue an emergency PO to somebody to remove trees. That's what the request would be based
So how
on.
much is really in that?
Right, because it has the salary
Give us
increase.
best estimate of the real
Probably
contingency number. Roughly, yeah.
130.
Okay,
140.
real funds that
Yeah.
are not encumbered.
Right.
For something
For other
else,
purposes,
yeah.
right. 130.
Um,
140.
And I wouldn't be using those funds unless we had a true
Right,
emergency.
you
Right.
just
I
want to
understand.
free it up, I mean, you're not
Just in
gonna
case.
just go use it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Which is what I thought we kind of talked about before, even still, we say, hey, when you need it, ask for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to putting it out there if Warren says, hey, I'm only gonna use it.
And you won't use it if you don't need it.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, the trees I have, they're gonna stay, I'm not conducting any removals unless they are emergencies. Let's say we have wind damage and now the remaining tree has to be removed for safety reasons. The other trees that are on my list, I intend to do it in the next budget year.
We did talk about, because I remember we talked about the fact that this is all vendor work, like Ashburn
Yes.
or Lewis, right? And they give us time. So even if you called them and said, hey, go cut that tree down, don't you have 30 days to pay?
Yes.
From
Still
invoice,
30 days
yes.
to pay, but when we have to have the funds in place when we encumber, when we commit
work.
to the,
When we
Service.
commit to the
Service.
service.
Yeah, one,
So let's put it.
Yeah, I'm
out there.
okay, I'm okay.
I don't know if a vendor would come in on a major dollar tree
without a PO.
without a PO.
Yeah, the PO.
And we have
commits.
to have the funds for the PO.
We have to have the
Covered.
funds in place to do the PO,
Okay.
right?
Okay, it sounds like it's okay. I'm gonna at least to get moving. I'll make a motion that we approve funding request number 1920-15 in the amount of $20,000.
Second.
Thank you, Dwight. Any further discussion or questions on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Then you got another one, right? Heavy duty,
The body.
the body.
The body and plows.
Right. So, we went out to bid for that, and, we received 4 bids.
Yeah.
And the low bid was, HP Fairfield for $147,476, which is for 2.
Yep.
And, that's $73,738 per unit. And Warren, you did some background and some checking
Yes,
on
we
that?
met with the vendor just to make sure that we're all on board with the products that they were gonna provide us. The snow plows are consistent with everything we've purchased in previous years. The bodies differ, and the control system differs from what previous builds were. We met with the vendor. In fact, the mechanic is going to another community that has the same exact system that in their trucks. On Tuesday, he's going up just for upfront view on the vehicle. But we found nothing in the bid specification to negate, there was some exceptions for what we requested, but not
Not
broad
significant
enough to negate the bid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the low bid,
Yes.
right? Okay. So,
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the award for bid 2020-08
I'll second.
in the amount of $147,476.
It's funded where?
The capital budget.
Capital, it's
Yeah,
already in.
it's in there, yeah. It's funded already.
okay, I'll make a second. Is there any further questions or discussions? Oh, okay. I
Actually,
didn't hear.
Joe did.
Oh, Joe did. Sorry, Joe, I didn't hear you.
He has to speak up louder.
Bring
He
that
sits
mic
back,
over
he
there.
sits back, he's like,
Okay. Okay, so we have any other questions or discussions on this?
No.
All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We took a couple of those funding requests out of order, but because you were
Thank
here, we
you.
went with it.
Thank you
All
very
set.
much,
Coming in.
Warren.
Okay. Now backing up to, I'm all done with that, right, for now? Yep, okay, backing up 15, reval update. We have Betsy here, thank you. Hope you have been here too long. We had a lengthy public comment this evening.
So, we thought it would be helpful to present the findings of the revaluation that Betsy just completed, so that, you can see sort of some of the trends in some of the data And I got a little clicker here, Betsy, so,
Did you find the batteries? Got a clicker?
yeah, see if it reaches. I'm it?
No batteries?
No, I gotta turn it
Oh,
on.
okay. There you go.
Okay,
Turn it on.
so, there's a lot of public
Glad
comments.
I'm not the only one that's cooked.
So, for the benefit of our viewers and for, I wanted to do just a brief background of exactly what revaluation is, and then Betsy can get into the numbers. So it's basically, Betsy's required to certify a grand list with OPM each year. And the grand list is measured on October 1st, which means that's the date of the values are measured, and she needs to complete it by February 1st. And so we use the grand list to determine the distribution of the tax burden amongst our residents. The state of Connecticut, as we've discussed, has set up a system where the value of your property is what's determined, in the most part, about your ability to pay your taxes. It's not income, it's not any other reason, it's the value of your property. So that's the process that we use. Periodically, we have to conduct a revaluation, which is essentially capturing changes in fair market property values for the grand list. Again, that's required once every 5 years. So that the revaluation basically redistributes the tax burden amongst the taxpayers. There's some go up, some go down, and it doesn't generate additional revenue. It just redistributes the
You still have to
values.
pay the bills.
Still have to pay the same $40 million, regardless of where the grand list is.
Right. Or what your
So you
assessment
just have to
is.
adjust the mill rate to
I
reflect that.
get it.
Right. So those are the last one we did was October 1st, 2014.
So basically, if you see the numbers up there, every year I give Tony a change sheet, and that is showing the grand list from 2018 to the grand list of 2019, and where we end up. You see the significant decrease in our real estate, and then we'll get into where major impacts of that occurred on future slides. We had a small decrease in personal property and a very small uptick in motor vehicle. So unfortunately, I think what was our net?
It was a little less than 4, like 3.8.
Yeah, 3.8 or something, yeah. So I did some comparisons, and you'll see on these slides, just to give an idea of the types of households and the changes they received. And all of this is generated from sales. So if you see, multifamilies were the ones that increased the most, and they generated a 29% increase for multifamily houses based on sales, and most of those sales occurred in Lower Woodbridge. Raised ranches were next, and I just collect the data. People, I try to tell people that I don't create it. I'm not going out there buying 122 raised ranches, so this is to try to show them that, the data and the sales is what has created these uplifts to you. Colonials are our most predominant type of house here, and the reason for that, the lowest increase, or the biggest decrease, I should say, is because colonials encompass a large portion of our upper end houses, and you will see in later slides where those were the houses that received the most decreases. So we did a comparison by value, by size here, and the 5,000 square foot houses, obviously, we're all knowing that people are, it's a little more difficult to sell them. They also encompass our larger sales of our houses, which also created our biggest decreases that we had. So that, we're doing the comparisons coming down. Our average home value right now is about $400,000, and our average size is about 2,800. So if you see, that's sort of right there smack in the middle with the minus 4.5. And as you get smaller, you see the houses, they increased based on their value because it became more affordable. So this was by value here, and you see over $1 million. That was the houses that were over $1 million prior to our revaluation. There were 62 households, and the average assessment change was almost $200,000. And so that was a pretty big hit. I think we figured out, Tony, that was almost $12 million.
$12 million, yeah.
So just 62 households affected our $43 million decrease by $12 million. And as you see, when we get into the lower sales values, you looked at 200 to 300,000, that's where we first get increases. And again, that equates to the smaller houses, the more affordable homes. So as Tony was saying, as we just led up to this, you still need to pay the bills. So we did a comparison from what the revenue collection was on a 40.23 mil from the 2018 grand list, what the revenue collection would be if we kept the mill rate at 40.23, and saw that we had a deficit. We couldn't pay the bills even from last year, so that we had to figure out what mill rate would keep us at an absolute zero budget. And that was increasing the mill rate to 41.84 with not 1 penny of an increase.
There's no additional revenue here. It's the
Right.
same revenue as here. You just need to increase the mill rate to reflect the reduction in the grand list.
Correct.
Okay.
So this was where I was using our average fair market value of our house. When we went through revaluation in 2014, the average value was $428,000. This year, when we went through reval, it reduced to $400,000, showing a comparison of our mill rate, last year to our mill rate that we said, if we don't raise anything 1 penny, those would be the two tax dollar comparisons from last year to this year for that average house.
And the last thing that's
Right, so
important here.
when we wanted to look to see in actual numbers, who would receive any type of an increase? Now, this is saying it could be a $5 increase. It's not saying that you're gonna get, $500 increase, but 35.6% of the households, if the mill rate only went to 41.84, would see an increase in their taxes by something.
So that just shows you the shift
Yeah.
in the, that's it.
Anyone have any questions for Betsy?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Betsy.
Sandy, anything? No? Okay. I know we're all like trying to breathe.
I'm trying to stay awake.
No, I think
gonna be a hit
it's just, it'll be important to explain this, at the preliminary town
Right.
budget.
Yes, we're gonna do a
Yep.
similar,
And,
we'll do a similar
Yeah.
presentation at the budget, like this, so people can see.
Well, people with money
but I
can come
think
here
also,
and
in
the
terms
only
of
ones
showing
buying
how
houses here are
someone's
the people that
taxes
want to
are
go to
impacted.
beach.
Right.
Because everybody talks about.
A lot of young
numbers,
families and all that stuff.
But it's really how have your taxes
Right,
changed?
that's the real question.
Right.
And really showing that, I think will help elucidate.
Yeah, Tony, I discussed that. Once you start shaking the budget into shape, and there's sort of an actual
Yes.
mill rate that's out there, that's when there will be a lot of people asking questions about what their taxes are gonna change to, because you're gonna have a number that will represent the budget you guys are gonna roll out. And then that, we can probably at the preliminary hearing, that's when we'll do the same type of comparisons, but with more of a realistic
Right.
mill rate.
Yes, definitely.
That, isn't, let's be honest, zero base is, almost
Right,
unrealistic.
it's
Yeah.
it's not possible.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But I think also showing a comparison of what's happened, let's say, to the mill rate over the last few years, and then what happened to someone's taxes
Sure,
over
yeah.
that time period, is also important to show.
Yeah, and we can pick an average tax
Yeah.
rate. I mean, it's easy enough, and then,
No, I didn't include it in there.
apply it for the last 5 years, and what did they start with in 14, what did they end up with in 19?
Yeah.
And what will they go to
Yes,
when they get their tax bill,
Right.
in July?
I think that would be great. Thanks, Betsy.
You're welcome, thank you.
What's that?
He wants to know if we should go to
Yeah, I can call Roy if you want.
item,
Yeah.
Alan's here, we could Well, let's keep going until we get a hold of that, Roy.
All right, I'll go call him now.
Okay, all right, so, all
We're
right.
gonna skip Tony, because
Well, we'll come
Tony's
back
next.
to you, Tony, we'll do 17 now.
Yeah.
The consensus of the board over it, okay. So now we'll move to item 17. Boy, these meetings are gonna be something, huh, Jerry? Your minutes. Okay. Item 17, Assistant Administrative Officer report. I'll call on Betsy, thank you.
So in your packets, you have two different event applications for events coming up. The first one is the Bethwood Baseball Opening Day Ceremony.
Anyone have any questions on this one?
It's a typical thing we do every year.
Do we know anybody who knows anything about this that could answer?
A little bit, a little bit. We've been doing it for,
couldn't resist, Dwight, I'm
we've been doing
sorry.
it for how many years?
I
mean,
know, I'm sorry.
it's a great event,
Couldn't
though.
resist, yes, okay. I looked over the application, it looks fine to me. So, I will make a motion that we approve it as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the questions for Dwight or anyone? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And then the second one is the Woodbridge Community Day on June 6th on the town green. And I know Betsy knows about this one because she's been organizing it.
Yes.
So
the
the-
town of Woodbridge who is holding this event?
Yes.
Yes.
So
So
we're
making
not
an
gonna pay our
application to
fee.
ourselves?
We're not gonna
Yes.
pay our fee to ourselves. We're gonna waive the fee on that one.
And so,
We write out a check to us
we're also
and
gonna
cash it.
provide ourselves with a certificate of insurance?
No, but as you pointed out last month, I should ask our vendors to provide a
Right.
certificate of insurance, and so I
Is that-
changed that field.
Okay. Sounds good.
You have ours, right? You
Yes, I
have
do.
that- You have
Yeah.
that,
Very good.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the, Town of Woodbridge's application to hold event on town
And this is when
property.
Recreation is doing a special
They're-
event too,
Their event's at 9 in the morning, and this event would
Triathlon.
start at 10. Right.
I know this is the big, we're trying to group a lot of things together on this day, which is good.
We hope it's a good day, whether.
Well,
was-
that's the key.
You bet.
That's the key.
So Deb doesn't approve it.
What was the question, Joe? I'm sorry.
I think the school board takes care of events
Yeah,
happening
they
at
do.
the school.
They're in charge of.
Is this the one
Things
that
that happen on their
Recreation
grounds.
does, Smith Mowry?
Yes.
Yes.
I just asked if we approved that, and I was
Well, the
told that
triathlon,
we don't approve that, the school does.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
it's a
at
triathlon
least
they're
it's
doing.
still our
Right.
property, we ought to be careful as to how they're approving these things, that's.
I
that's
don't
my
know, that's a
only-
good question. Did it last year, but we didn't approve it. Do we need to have them?
Yeah, but we ought to just know how they're.
I could talk to Al or
because-
Bob about it.
Well, they've been holding events there for,
They get insurance and stuff like that.
Well, I hope so, that's all I'm saying, they have to follow the same
The same procedures.
procedures that we do,
Right.
and hopefully they do.
well, it's a recreation
Right.
function event that they're hosting.
But we do approve the road race every year, don't we, or no?
Yeah, but that's here, though. That's out here. It's not on school
Here.
property.
But it's still town property.
It's town property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's.
I'm just
they-
asking.
they have
I'm not a lawyer.
jurisdiction-
Beach
You
Road
guys
School
are.
Property's
They
town
have
property.
jurisdiction over town.
They have
Yeah.
jurisdiction
Little-
over
Okay.
it, but we
They
insure
should.
it.
Yeah, but we gotta make sure they have insurance.
Right, that's why we have to
All
make
right.
sure they're following the same procedures.
So back to June 6th, and the event on the town property, I'll make a motion that we approve the town of Woodbridge's application for that.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this one? Okay, all in favor?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, Betsy. What
Let's
do you got
finish, yeah,
next?
let's go through.
The title.
Approval of the Title VI documents.
Well, the next one actually is the Sustainability Committee
Oh, I'm sorry, yep.
recommendation.
Yep.
And the committee has been, very interested in doing everything they can to promote recycling in the town. And one suggestion they've had is they would like to recommend that the board change the name of the transfer station to include the word recycling, to remove any potential confusion about whether or not you can recycle there or where people recycle. So their suggestion, and I've talked with Warren about this, is to change the name to the Transfer and Recycling Station.
I move to approve the change in the name.
Any discussion, questions? All in
Either way,
favor?
it sounds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we move on, sorry, to item C, approval.
It's respecting our volunteers, okay?
Approve of Title VI documents for the transit grant.
So these three documents are the remaining items that are required for the state grants that the Human Services Department has applied for through the state to receive funding for their transportation program. These are new documents, and they are basically outlining what the town will do to help anybody who does not speak English or does not speak English well, to make sure that they're aware, aware of the programs and get any translating services that they need to be able to take advantage of the program that the town's providing.
Anyone have any questions on these?
Yeah, I
Betsy?
was impressed that we could kind of use the community survey to kind of drill down to understand what the size of the populations are. I still have some questions as to whether or not these individuals, how they would really find out that these services are available. It's really, just saying that it's on our website, well, many of these people may not have computers, and they don't know really how to find it, even if it's on their phone. So I don't know if we could ask about the drivers having some of the translated documents in their, vans. Or if, can we contact some of the local religious groups where these populations go and have them explain that, so that it's a way to make more people aware.
I'll make that suggestion.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone on these? Can we vote on them one at a time, I guess? Town of Woodbridge Language Assistance Plan. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The second one is, Town of Woodbridge Transportation Program Limited English Proficiency Plan. I'll make a motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or questions further? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And last but not least, the Town of Woodbridge Transportation Program Public Participation Plan. It's a PPP. Yep. I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? And Betsy, thank you for working on this, by the way. I know it was a lot of question back and forth to get them into this shape. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna jump around again to item 23 with consensus from the board. As both of our people that are
Both here.
available for this at this point will go to do that. So I will make a motion that we go to item 23, executive session pursuant to section 1-200, parens C6, and parens E, and parens, and 1-210, parens B, and parens, negotiation agreement / contracts, American Medical Response Contract, and Emergency Medical Services Commission Chair Roy Ivins and Alan Davidson are listed on the agenda, so I would invite them in addition to Jerry Weiner and Tony Genovese. Sorry, Jerry.
It's okay.
We were gonna try to let you go.
It's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Who seconded that?
I don't think so. Joe did, okay.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we're on our way into executive session again. We're back on the cameras, completed our executive session. No motions were made nor votes taken during executive session. I will entertain a motion to, let's see where I wrote it down here. Extend the agreement with AMR through 12/31/2020.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? I have to excuse myself. My brother. Can you take over for one? Can somebody just take over for the, Tony's report? Right? I've heard
I'll go
it.
through my
All
report.
right, I'll be right back. I just want to make sure everything's okay.
Just gonna quickly go through this report. We have a surplus through January of 2020 on a budgetary basis of $154,000. That's most of the same items from the previous month. I do want to bring to your attention that we did receive $671,000 in surplus funds from the Amity, and I did not include that in this projection because of the anticipation of it possibly being used in the budget. So that's probably the big highlight there. Any questions?
No.
No? Okay.
I got a lot of them, but I'm gonna reserve.
For when? I won't come to that meeting.
What's next?
Next,
What Joe wants to get at.
tax refunds
Approved.
You have to make a motion.
in the amount of $9,613.67.
So moved. Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay,
That's in favor.
next.
We are on TV now.
Everything okay?
Cool.
Yeah. Control yourself.
Okay.
We better cool it a little bit.
Yeah.
Funding, we have one funding request to do.
Back to business. What number?
This is 1920-13 and $10,000 for the funding of Phase 2 for the
got it,
security
actually.
assessment of Beecher Road.
Yes, this is related to the discussion that we had
Correct.
in
Previously.
executive session,
Previously, yeah.
correct? So I will make a motion that we
Second.
approve 1920-13 in the amount of $10,000 for Phase 2 of the security assessment for Beecher Road School. Joe gave a second already. Any discussion or further movement on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. And my apologies for leaving. Yep,
Yep.
we did, that was the only one.
Go ahead.
Is there any other? I
No.
always love to ask. I make him put it on there in case there's another other, because it's
No
so
other
much
other.
fun. Okay, now we go back down, I believe, to town council's report. Is that correct? All right.
What about the refunds, the tax
We
refunds?
did that.
We did
Oh,
them
did you?
already.
Yeah, you approved.
Good, that's fine. Okay, good, that's good. Okay, you guys are quick.
You gotta be,
Wow, holy cow.
okay.
So I really think this should be very short. This is an issue involving the volunteer firefighters and the tax abatement ordinance that you all passed a couple of years ago, where if you're a Woodbridge resident, you're a volunteer, and you meet certain criteria of service and 10 meetings, you're eligible for an abatement of part of your taxes. I think, Tony, it comes to about $800 per
Yeah.
per
It's a little
firefighter,
$750,
$750, something like that. There was one firefighter that has been a firefighter for years and years, and he's, he's a great, he seemed like a nice guy that I know, and I think we all know him. I can say who it is, it's Jim Coyote. His house is in a trust, and it has always been in a trust. It's been in a trust for a number of years, and the question is whether he can take advantage of that abatement. And he asked us to look at the ordinance and give an opinion. Now, I looked at the ordinance doesn't cover trusts, and
But he otherwise qualifies.
Other qualifies.
Personally,
Yeah.
personally he
he
qualifies.
personally qualifies. So
But he doesn't own the property personally.
Right, but it's for his benefit or and his family, his immediate family. So I gave an opinion, and I wanted to let you know, and if you disagree, we can always revoke it, but I think it's the fairest and the equitable thing to do. It's only one firefighter, and what I did say is that so long as the trust was created prior to the effective date of the ordinance, we in effect grandfather him in and allow him to take advantage of the abatement. Anyone who creates a trust subsequent to the ordinance will not be able to take it. Now, unless you...
Even if they reside there with their family?
Yes, but they know that the ordinance is in effect, and they know that it's gotta be, because the ordinance doesn't speak anything about a trust, and they know if they wanna transfer it, they risk losing the benefit. And so I sort of did a little bit, exaggeration. I extended the true meaning of it, and I said, if it was created before the effective date of the ordinance, he can take advantage of it. He must show the trust agreement to Betsy before he becomes eligible, so long as it's a proper trust. and I think we should give it to him. And that was my opinion to Tony and to Beth, so I just wanted to explain it to you. And that's all I have on that, unless you guys disagree.
Do we have to make a motion on that?
No, I don't think so. I did interpreted, I just wanted to tell you
How
what
about
it
a
was.
vote of confidence? In Jared?
Are you, don't even bring that up.
Okay.
Are you crazy?
We're moving on. Thank you, Jerry. Number 19, I will make a motion that we acknowledge receipts of the town clerk's reports in your packet. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Here we go. Okay, minutes. I'll make a motion that we approve the December 10th, 2019 Board of Selectmen tour of the Thomas Darling House. Is there a second?
Second.
Any admissions,
Yeah,
changes?
I would like-
I was not, I'm gonna have to abstain on this, because I
Right.
didn't go, because I had the
I
flu.
would just like to make one change.
Yes.
Under tour, the last sentence says at 2:21 PM, those present held a brief discussion. It actually went on for almost an hour.
It
So
did.
maybe-
Yeah, it was long.
I'd like to say we held a roundtable discussion.
Well, it wasn't 24 hours.
I'll accept that, everyone accept that friendly amendment to that?
I'm
Okay.
abstaining anyway, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Okay, so I'll make, so we have a motion, we have a second. Is there, what's the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
We have
For
three-
those who
three-
were present, yeah.
3 in favor, no negatives, and 2 abstentions. Joe and I, right, Joe?
Abstain, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna both abstain because we weren't there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Move that, amendment.
Yes, with the
Yes,
amendment.
with a friendly amendment, yes, okay. What's next?
Oh, you got
December 10th, there's thousands of minutes here. Fasten your seatbelt, we gotta go here. Joint meeting of the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen, Tuesday, December 10th. I'll make a motion that we approve them as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Any additions, changes, corrections on those? All in favor?
Did you read it?
I
You were
did.
not,
Okay, so.
I did. Was I there?
No, he was the one, he
You
wasn't
were-
there for the first, were you there for the first?
you were not there, Joe was, you're
Right.
not listed as being there, Joe.
Sick as a dog.
I wasn't there.
Tuesday,
Yeah,
December
No.
the
10th.
only
No.
people there were
Right.
Mr. and Dwight and
I still
Sandy.
had the flu, the same day as the
Right, you
tour.
weren't
Oh, I
there.
wasn't there.
Yeah, because you
Okay.
were, remember you, that was one of the dates you mixed up.
I don't know.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
if you
that's
were
That's one of
there,
the dates you mixed up. I said, where
All
were
right.
you?
Yeah. Oh, I was
December
So wait a minute, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I wasn't
opposed?
there, so I'll
No. And any abstentions? 2. Okay, Beth and Joe. Thursday, December 12th, I rallied. Joint meeting of the Boards of Selectmen and Finance, I did read these as well. I'll make a motion, we approve. Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion on these changes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yay, okay, now we're cooking. January 8th, I was there for that too. Board of Selectmen regular meeting. I'll make a motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. I read them.
Yep.
Is there any changes, omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Excuse me. January 21st, it was a joint meeting of the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance on January 21st, 2020. I'll make a motion that we approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any changes, additions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. January 23rd was another budget meeting. I'll make a motion that we approve them as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any changes or discussions or additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we do them all?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
No, it won't get on there.
okay. Moving along, we have now the Personnel Committee report.
Okay. The Personnel Committee met on the January 22nd, and we discussed the Human Services Director position. The town is currently in the process of receiving applications for permanently filling the position. In the meantime, the committee voted unanimously to recommend to the board that, retroactive to January 22nd, that Jeanette Glicksman be named the interim Human Services Director at a salary of $65,500 per year, and the hours of the part-time employees be increased as necessary.
So moved.
I'll second it. Any discussion or questions on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, holy moly, wow, 22. Okay, last item on the agenda is the executive session pursuant to section 1-200-6C, public safety. And I would invite into this, obviously, the board and Jerry and Tony. Jerry Weiner.
Make a motion for that.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank
Okay.
you. Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you guys go home.